Officer detains a judge's son. I have actually never gotten to watch this video, but it's been like all over my YouTube feed because obviously what I'm interested in. So I wanted to look at this and react to it. I'm not sure if it's a fail. I'm not sure if it's the cop getting owned. I've never seen it, so let's see what happens. So the officer is asking, I don't know what the officer pulled him over for. I'll look it up. But the officer is asking, where are you going? Like, where are you headed to? And I don't like those type of questions. That is none of his business. And I would say I'm not going to answer.
Stop the night here. Okay. But I'm going to Little Rock.
Just going to Little Rock.
I do want to stay here. Daddy, I missed the turn. From Fayetteville.
Oh, okay. What do you got? What are you going to Little Rock for? You live in Little Rock?
That's where I live.
Oh, okay. What's going on in Fayetteville?
That's where I go to school.
Oh, okay.
So he asked him, what are you doing? Why are you going to Little Rock? Why are you coming from Fayetteville? He goes to school in Fayetteville. He lives in Little Rock.
Are you going to school in this fall?
Yes. But all of my classes are remote, so I'm heading back home.
And he says, all of my classes are remote, so I'm heading back home.
My parents didn't want me to stay tonight because of COVID-19. I'm going to be in the house. I'm staying in another place for 2 weeks. And I can't move into that. I'm moving into another apartment in my parents.
Why don't you just go all over Little Rock today?
Because I can't move in tonight.
What's in here? You like your furniture and stuff?
Everything.
Okay. Hang tight right there. Do something, okay? Still nervous? You still look nervous?
Still nervous.
Is there anything illegal in there or anything?
Not at all.
You know what?
So you see, you're still nervous. You look nervous. I don't blame him for being nervous. I think this cop is acting really shady. Again, I don't know what he's pulling him over for. Is it because he was stopped on the side of the road? I don't know. But now he's starting. This is why I don't answer these questions, because now he's starting the inquiry to try to find out if there's anything illegal in the car. He's trying to find a pretext to get into his vehicle. I don't have anything in there.
You're nervous about it. You're not even get a ticket. You're not.
There's nothing to be nervous. See, it's like when they do that good guy routine, and this is, if any of you have watched my video or aspiring law enforcement or law enforcement, if any of you that watch my video are aspiring law enforcement or law enforcement at all, just go by the book. Issue the person the ticket or run their information, but all that other talking is actually frightening, super terrifying. You think that you're putting people at ease, and you're not, because what it sounds like you're really doing is gaslighting me. Everyone's afraid when they're pulled, especially Black people. We're afraid when we get pulled over by the police. It can be very, very dangerous for us. You're armed and we're not. Just like how you guys like to say, oh, they could be armed or whatever, and I don't even know, and I have to go home to my family. We have to go home to our families too. So don't tell him he doesn't have any reason to be afraid. He has every reason to be afraid.
Who ran the truck?
You say what?
Who ran the truck?
I did.
You did? Okay. When did you rent the truck?
Yesterday.
So he didn't even really, it doesn't seem like he checked anything. He wasn't gone that long. He asked who ran the truck, and then the guy said, I did yesterday.
You gotta take it, turn it back in the Fayetteville, or?
I don't.
Keep it up in Fayetteville?
I'm sorry, sir. It's good. I'm trying to figure out that you have probable cause to stop me.
Yeah, you gotta rent your truck back there. That's why I stopped you.
Okay.
That's a right back there.
I didn't wreck it. I almost went into the accident. I was like, I think that's the right.
He said you almost wrecked the truck back there. That's why I stopped. So he avoided a collision, and you're stopping him for avoiding a collision.
Actually not. I've never stopped in Russellville.
That's what the deal says. That's just my job. I just don't make one.
Why isn't he writing him a ticket or running his information? This officer should be inside of the car writing a ticket or running his information. And if any of you are watching this and you're civilians, the way that this man is behaving is exemplary. The only thing is that I would not be answering any of these questions. But his calmness and demeanor, him asking, what was your probable cause? You know, what did I do, basically? Why are you stopping me? That just what I said in my video, that's what you should be asking. Why did you stop me?
Okay, but now you're asking all these other questions.
Right.
You're super nervous, so I'm trying to figure out why you're so nervous.
Because it's a police. I don't get stopped.
Okay.
You said what, Dad? You said what? Can you speak to him?
So he gives his dad okay, so he had his dad on the phone, and his dad is a judge, so he gave the phone to the officer and asked for him to speak to his dad.
Because I just don't know what.
The way that this officer is behaving is completely suspicious to me. It's like he's looking for some reason to try to hem this guy up, and I really don't like it. Like, this is when just his body language, his the way that he's speaking, the things that he's saying, these are not necessary in order to effectuate a traffic stop. He's gone above and beyond what's necessary to effectuate a traffic stop. And in fact, the law dictates that the officer is supposed to pursue the goals of the traffic stop. Like, so far, I don't see him running his information. So this is like basically become a second stop. And I'll talk about that in a little bit.
One stopped.
I told you why you stopped.
Okay, all right.
I'll talk to him.
Okay, I'll take it back. I'm sorry, sir.
You want to talk to him or not?
No, it's fine. What I need to do?
Well, is there anything illegal here?
Nothing.
So do you mind if I look real quick?
No, I do. I do. We can't.
You mind?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what if I bring a dog out here?
Oh, okay. There are a lot of problems with this traffic stop. It is really concerning me. I do not like this at all. Number one, he's told him while he stopped him, but the reason that he stopped him doesn't make any sense to me. He said, you almost wrecked the truck. He's saying that I was just getting on to the, I realized I was in the wrong place, and I was like, uh-oh, and I was about to turn around, and then he stopped him. Someone avoiding having an accident is really not a reason to stop them. But let's say that the guy swerved, which is not what he's saying that he did. Let's say he crossed over the center line, which is not what he's saying that he did, right? Maybe he got into a lane without signaling, which is not what he's saying that he did. Fine, you already have him stopped. Pursue the purpose of the traffic stop. I need to see this guy in his car. I need to hear that he's running his information through dispatch. I don't hear that. Now, the body camera is like physically on him. So there's like the mic is on him, but this is like a dash cam as well. I don't hear any activity coming out of the vehicle. So I'm assuming he hasn't run his information through dispatch, and that's very concerning to me. Now we're progressing into the area of what's called a second stop. And what a second stop is where the officers say he has stopped you for a lawful reason, and then the reason for that stop has either ended or it has been abandoned, and now the officer is holding you even longer. So if the reason has been fulfilled, that means he's issued you the citation, he's issued you the warning, and now you're free to leave. But something else has happened for him to continue to hold you, or he is now illegally holding you. Or the reason for the stop has been abandoned. When the reason for the stop has been abandoned, that means he's no longer pursuing the traffic stop. He's not pulling up your information through dispatch. He's not writing you a citation, right? He doesn't smell the odor of alcohol. He doesn't smell the odor of marijuana. And he's just holding you for no reason whatsoever other than to further investigate some possible crime because he has some type of nebulous, unspecified hunch. That's a second stop without a justification, and that's illegal. And I think that that's the territory that this officer, if he's not already in it, he's real, real close to it.
No, I can't do it. Like, you said it doesn't have anything to do with the potential wreck.
Okay, so here's how it works. I get probable cause to stop you. I did that. When I get up here and make contact with you, you're super nervous. Your hands are shaking, they're still shaking. Your voice is shaky. So then that makes me suspicious that it's more than just you missed your exit.
Although the Supreme Court has ruled that nervous and evasive behavior is a pertinent factor in determining reasonable suspicion, it generally cannot be the only factor.
So right now, this officer's only reason for holding this guy past into the second stop territory, I'm gonna call it, we're in second stop territory now. His only reason for continuing to hold this guy without issuing him a citation for almost having a collision is that he seems to be nervous. And that is not enough. You need more than just nervousness in order to hold someone. Is he nervous, and is it a high crime area? Does he smell like alcohol? Does he smell like drugs? Is he making furtive movements to his waistband? None of that. None of these other factors are present. The guy is just nervous, and it's understandable that he's nervous. I'm going to be honest with you. This officer is actually trying to elicit nervousness from this guy. He keeps coming out of his car, getting real close to him, pressing him with these questions. It's a gaslighting technique, and it's a pressure technique that's used in order to make the person feel nervous. It's not by accident that this guy feels nervous. Okay.
Okay. So if I bring a dog, is it going to hurt on anything?
Yeah, no, it's not going to hurt on anything.
Okay, so now like I said, we're in that second stop territory, and he has asked this man for permission to search his vehicle. And just like in my other video where the lawyer said, no, you can't search my vehicle, I would prefer for you not to search my vehicle, and that ended it. This gentleman is doing the same exact thing. He's saying, no, you cannot search my vehicle. And now you see that he's escalating at the officer, and he's saying, I'm going to get a drug sniffing dog to come out and smell your vehicle, basically, right? Now, sometimes when officers say that, it's because they're actually going to get a drug sniffing dog. But you can't get a drug sniffing dog to come out and smell the vehicle if you're not pursuing the purpose of the traffic stop. He has abandoned the purpose of the traffic stop at this point in time. You have to be actively writing the ticket, and then while you're writing the ticket or waiting for dispatch to tell you that this guy's license is valid or whatever the case may be, while you're doing that, then you have to call in for the drug sniffing dog, and you can't hold the person longer than a few minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on the situation, if it takes a really long time to get the information back. But you cannot hold that person for an exorbitant amount of time in order for the drug sniffing dog to come out. And I think this officer knows that. So what he's saying, by saying that, oh, I'm going to get the drug sniffing dog to come out, what he's really doing is saying, I am going to use this as an investigatory tool, as an interrogation tool to try to force you to admit me into your vehicle. So he's saying, oh, you don't think the dog is going to find anything? Why are you asking him that unless you want him to say, okay, maybe, all right, fine, you can search the vehicle. And then that gives him consent. And now all of this second stop stuff and all of the illegal detention that's happening is out the window because the driver has given consent. So here the driver is doing the correct thing. When an officer says, what do you think about me bringing out a drug sniffing dog? All you have to say is, I do not consent to you searching my vehicle. Can you please issue me this citation so I can go? Okay, if you won't let me go, there's nothing I can do about it, but I do not consent to this detention, and I don't consent to this search. And so he's doing the right thing up until this point in time. I hope he doesn't submit to the K-9. I hope he doesn't say, oh yeah, you can get the K-9 or you can search my vehicle.
I promise you, I honestly just don't want to get shot. Yeah, that's all, and I'm sorry about that. It happens. I know it happens. So, honestly, you can...
This poor man, he said, look, I'm nervous because I honestly just don't want to get shot, and I'm sorry about that. That's the sickness of our society, that this man is afraid of getting shot, and he has to apologize to this officer who's like, why are you nervous? Why are you nervous? You know exactly why he's nervous, and you're exploiting it to make him more nervous, to try to give you a reason to further detain him.
I don't want you to bring a dog because I don't think that's fair to me as a citizen, as someone who...
Good.
The only thing I did was kind of, like, I did not almost wreck my car.
If you don't want to bring a dog, just let me look in here real quick. I'll get you down the road.
Trooper Payton offers Mr. Humphrey.
So he says, I don't want you to bring a dog because I think you're violating my rights as a citizen. I think he is violating his rights as a citizen. And so the trooper says, well, if you just go ahead and if you let me search, then I'll just send you down the road. Now what you're doing is you're basically forcing. I think for myself, if my client at this point said, fine, you can search, I would argue to the judge that this wasn't even consensual because you pressured this person so much. He said no so many times, and basically you told him you weren't going to let him go unless you were allowed to search the vehicle. And he's made it clear that the only reason he's really holding this guy still is to search him. He's not holding him in order to effectuate the traffic stop. He's not holding him to issue him a citation. And I think that's very clear at this point in time. And it's wrong. It's, oh, so he's going to bring out the dog. Okay, here we go.
To deploy a canine unit or do anything else outside the scope of the original investigation.
Oh, no, he
in the
didn't.
2015 case of Rodriguez versus United States. In the Rodriguez case, the traffic stop in question was only extended by approximately 7 or 8 minutes, but the court determined that the tolerable duration of a stop
So I have to sit right there. I'm gonna get a dog out.
No, I don't.
and unit
So-
anyway.
I don't have to bring it.
So literally this guy is like, no, I don't want you to search my vehicle. And he's saying, okay, well, I'm going to bring a canine out. Again, I think that he is outside the scope of a second. He's within the scope of a second stop. He does not have probable cause to further detain this man. He does not have reasonable articulable suspicion, in my opinion. And he has not pursued the purpose of the traffic stop. He is prolonging the traffic stop unnecessarily in order to get the canine out there. And there is a United States Supreme Court case called Rodriguez v. United States that does not allow you to do that.
I just think that's so invasive of my rights, but you.
Do you take out the trash?
Who is this lady?
Sometimes. Does it feel like the worst 60 seconds of your day?
Girl,
so while
yes.
you're at it, go to protected.com. Check for cheaper auto insurance from just $19 a month in 60 seconds.
What does that have to do with taking out the trash?
You can look in here if you like to.
So I have to sit right there. I'm gonna get a dog out.
No, I don't want. You can. You said just look. Which is it? Just look or the dog?
I'm just gonna get a dog.
Daddy, what, can I talk to my dad now? I'm sorry. I'm really dangerous. But
Why is he taking his phone?
I'm just really nervous now because I know I've done it. I'm 32 years old.
So he has taken his phone and is holding it away from him. And I don't understand that.
Oh man.
Yes, but
Have you ever had any bad deals with the police?
I haven't, honestly.
Okay, so then I don't know. We're in
But
Arkansas.
you have my phone down. You said you were going to
You
talk to
gave it to
him,
me.
but you're not talking to him. Like,
I'm trying to talk to you. You're the violator.
He hasn't violated anything.
worth a ticket, so you don't have probable cause to give me a ticket, but you have probable cause
I
to
do
stop
have
me.
probable cause to give me a ticket.
No, you don't. You don't. And the fact that he says, oh, you're lucky I'm not giving you a ticket. No, he's not lucky. The better scenario would be for him to give this man a ticket and send him on his way. But he's delaying giving him the ticket to make it seem as though he has reason to further hold him or to prolong the first stop. But he's well outside of that territory at this point in time. If this man does end up searching him and finding anything, it's Arkansas. I don't know what they're like there. But here in my state, there's no way any of this stuff is coming in.
I can ask you a ticket if you want one.
Yes, give him a ticket and send him home.
I'm gonna get the dog out.
He's getting the dog out. There's nothing in.
Sit down on the bumper, okay?
Just figure that, like.
Mr. Humphrey and Trooper Payton wait for nearly 20 minutes before a canine unit arrives and
So apparently he waits for 20 minutes before a canine unit arrives. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. And just so you guys know, I don't know what's going to happen here. Canine units almost always alert to the vehicle, and their error rate is super high. So they bring out a canine unit just to give them the right to go inside of the vehicle, right? And the canine's going to probably alert, and then whether or not they find something is just up to chance.
does a sweep of the vehicle. The dog alerts in several areas, and Trooper Payton handcuffs
Of
Mr.
course.
Humphrey and places him in the back of his patrol car.
Oh
The
my
officers
God.
search the entire U-Haul, including the loading box full of Mr. Humphrey's belongings, for over an hour. They eventually
Oh
resorted
my
to taking
God.
apart a set of roadside emergency reflectors they had found in the cab of the U-Haul and questioned whether the sand inside them, which is designed to add weight to the reflector, was actually some type of narcotic.
This is
During the search, the
horrible.
canine officer assured the other officers that the dog had alerted over 10 times, but this assertion brings the accuracy of the dog into question.
So, this guy is spot on, right? And as I said before, and I promise I've never watched this video before. Canine units are super unreliable. I cannot tell you guys how unreliable they are. They're so unreliable that it's very difficult to get from the officers, even with a subpoena, the fail and success rate of the canine. Because when they don't find drugs, a lot of the times they won't even report where the canine alerted, but they weren't able to find drugs. That's a fail, right? A lot of times they don't even report those fails because they don't write a police report because they didn't find any drugs. So then they don't end up writing a canine report. So it's really twisted how that works out. And basically this was all a pretext just to search this car. This man was not giving consent. It was very clear that he wasn't giving consent. Even when he said, I mean, like, if I let you search, then this and that's not consent, right? And always say no. And as I told you guys in my previous video, if they're going to force their way into the car, they're going to force their way into the car. But the way that you stay alive is that you don't fight with them. You say no, you assert your rights, and then you wait for your day in court. If anything were to come of this, if say they were to find any drugs, it would be overturned. And the other thing is this, let's say that the canine is correct, that they did smell some type of narcotic or something like that. It's a moving truck. It's a moving truck. Of course, the person before him could have been transporting narcotics inside of the U-Haul. You know what I'm saying? The person before that person could have been transporting narcotics inside the U-Haul, and the dog could have been alerting to that. So it's not even like a good tool to figure out that this person has drugs inside the vehicle. You know, and he has no reason to be holding this man. So basically they found nothing. They wasted their time. They wasted this man's time. They terrorized him and frightened him basically for no reason, for absolutely no reason. And this was, in my opinion, a great example of very bad police work. Taking apart the lights, trying to say that the sand that's used to hold the lights, to weight the lights down is drugs, all of that type of stuff. It is absolutely horrible, absolutely disgusting. I'm so disappointed in these police officers. This is terrible, terrible, terrible police work. This guy definitely would probably have a lawsuit on his hands. They detained him, they scared him. They probably had some type of emotional damage as a result of this. And this is the type of stuff that needs to stop. It's what leads to distrust between the Black community and policing. You know, how are you going to trust these people when this man clearly was not stopping him for any type of traffic infraction because he never gave him a ticket for it. He never gave him a warning for it, and he never pursued the thing that he initially stopped him for. So he was way outside of the time frame of the first stop, way outside of any type of reasonable articulable suspicion to stop him in the first place, and just continue to detain him, put him in the cop car, put him in handcuffs, put him in the back. And this is a man that's just going to school and terrifying him for absolutely no reason. I mean, I must say that this is an example of, first of all, this person did the right thing, but when you do the right thing, how the results can still be so disastrous. But what didn't happen is he didn't get arrested because obviously he didn't have anything on him. And secondly, well, he got arrested, but he didn't go to jail. I should say that, because when you put someone in the back of the cop car, you're under arrest. He didn't go to jail. That's number one. And number two, he lived, right? He lived. And this poor man, I'm so glad that he is alive, but I hope more people watch videos like this and see that when, you know, myself as an attorney, when we're telling you that there is a problem with policing, this is it. All of this to try to find drugs. Like, that's ultimately what they're looking for in states where some drugs are mostly legal. You know, all of this terrorizing an entire subset of people just to find drugs. I hope that we have a day where we stop it. But yeah, I think this was terrible, terrible police work, a complete waste of resources. They had multiple cop cars out there, canine unit out there. It looked like 5 or 6 officers were on scene eventually. You know, what if someone was like shot somewhere or went into cardiac arrest and needed a police escort? These guys are not available because they're so busy harassing this Black guy over potential drugs. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you learned something from it. This is definitely a bad cop stop. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.